Welcome to the final installment of the Total Innovation Podcast for Season 2. It's been a riveting season. I've really enjoyed this with a mix of corporate innovators, entrepreneurs, and change makers from around the world. I hope everybody has enjoyed the session or the podcast episodes as much as I have in the conversations that I've had going forward. This final installment is a bit of a bonus installment, and I'm delighted to welcome to the podcast a super energy across the Nordic innovation ecosystem. He is leading transformation and change in a super interesting project that I'm excited to talk about. Those of you that follow the podcast and follow the work that I do will know that about 12 months ago now, I relocated from central London out to beautiful Stockholm. And as part of doing that, I was building network and getting to know people. And through a variety of different routes, led me to meeting to today's guest, who I'm now excited and delighted to call a friend, I think, and helping him in the journey to build the thing that he is building. But I'm going to let him talk about that. So it's a bit of a bonus episode. We're going to keep it quite conversational. It's summertime. And I want to make sure that you get the sense of the vibe of what's being developed across the Nordics, and particularly out of the mind of this incredible person that's driving something. And so with that, I love and delighted to welcome Ludvig Bergström to the podcast. Welcome, Ludvig.
Well, thank you so much. What an intro. Thank you, Simon.
No, not at all.
Thank you, friend. Yes.
So listen,
yeah.
I've come to know you, right? And but why don't you, for others that do not, not everybody knows Ludvig yet, although I'm sure over the next few years, they'll come to know you for the project you're delivering and so much more aside. Just give a little bit of an introduction to yourself, and then we'll jump into your current project that's keeping you busy and keeping you out of mischief.
Yes, absolutely. Well, yes, I'm Ludvig. I'm a professional public speaker. I'm kidding. I'm really not. So yes, we met each other 1 month ago, and I described this idea I had in mind, or 2 months ago even. And so my background is I started, founding my first tech company 5 years ago during my studies in Copenhagen, and then moved back to Stockholm and realized like trying to find people in that space, in the tech space, trying to find investors. And it was very inaccessible. Like the price you had to pay for a established tech conference is over 400 euros, which is crazy for a student. It's like half your student salary. And for the other events, like I was not able to participate because it was closed for CEOs, for very established, profiles. And so with that in mind, I just figure, we have to open up, the ecosystem. We have to open up the doors to these different events, because what's happening behind closed doors, the insight that you get is so valuable to people, knowing where the future is heading, how to hedge and so forth. So that's why I started Nordic Tech Week, which is a week full of events in Stockholm. And then we rented one of Stockholm's most iconic parks in Kungsträdgården called Kungsträdgården. And so it's going to be the world's first fully open tech conference at Kungsträdgården. We're going to have a lot of panels discussion happening on stage, but then we're going to have startups that can demo their product for free, have some networking, sections for people just to get inspired and meet future co-founders, future employers, and so forth. Yes.
Look, I know you joked up front there, and I know you said coming into this you're a little bit nervous, but do not be. And I think you are a public speaker, and I think you've got an amazing vision. No, you are. And we're going to see you on stage a little bit, hopefully, at this incredible event.
Well, you won't. I'm going to be behind the curtain.
Behind the scenes, like the wizard. But it actually, I was quite surprised when I came here in quite a positive way for the ecosystem, right? And the network that exists around Stockholm and around the Nordics. But then in meeting you and really understanding something that I think in some cities, in some parts of the world, might be a little bit more taken for granted. I kind of drew me back a little bit to about, a decade or so ago in London, when the scene was a little bit less mature, and therefore, a lot of the meetups, as you described, were quite hard to get into, right? They were either
Yeah.
expensive or very closed. And back then, as as in an early stage startup, we took on that goal and created a whole culture and a whole meetup set of events that were free, that let anybody come along, that actually built an ecosystem that over the next decade has created several unicorns. And I'm not saying that was because of that, but I certainly don't think it hurts, right? And so I really jumped on the idea of this thing. And then when we got into the bare bones of this, of like, who's funding it and how's this happening,
Yeah.
with the team behind it, and maybe you can talk to that a little bit, right? Because this is really your brainchild that's done through proper sweat equity in the thing that we're trying to create, with that incredible vision sitting behind it of it needs to be free at the point of access for everybody, right? I want this to build an ecosystem properly as we go forward. So just talk a little bit about that. Like, what is, you mentioned Nordic Tech Week, but what is it? What's your real vision from what you're trying to build, and
Yes.
and who's this incredible team that's building it?
Right. Yes. So the vision is realizing, being an entrepreneur myself, like it's a lot about timing, connections and luck. And when you meet people who helps you open doors, helps you get a broader connection and a network, that really helps a lot. But as I mentioned, like sometimes it can be closed, and if you aren't a part of an incubator or accelerator, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of an accelerator, and that opened up so many doors. So the vision here is just to open up more doors to make people either get inspired through a panel, talking about the future, or just meeting someone that might help you open up more doors in the future. And the team behind this is people who can really relate to these kind of pain points that we're trying to address. So it's past founders. It's a lot of people in the team have the best degrees in engineering, but they can't just find an employer because it's hard today, and it's hard to get into the ecosystem if you don't have the connection. So we're a very passionate team of, I think we're now, I know we're now 12 persons, working full time to make this happen. And since it's free, we don't have any ticket pricing, so it's hard to fund, but also the industry has seen that this is something that's really needed. And so we have amazing partnership, AWS, one of our amazing sponsors, has gone in with resources and financial needs to help us build up the area at Kungsträdgården, and Playground Tech is another sponsors of ours. So it's great to see that the industry is really stepping up and can relate to this. And even investors, VCs are helping, because they also find that it's hard to find founders today because they are also inside, they don't meet people. So we kind of just have to stir up a bit and open up these doors to help facilitate more connection and matchmaking. Yeah.
And look, I think that this is a podcast about innovation and about change. And innovation people will recognize that quite often it takes a huge amount of work that is done for free, and that has to smash through all kinds of walls to try and make possible. And I'm sure that's been true in this probably multiple X for what's been putting on an event for people that don't know Stockholm, right in the heart of Stockholm, in like prime Stockholm, taking it over for a few days, getting the permission to do that from people is, I'm sure from sketching something on a piece of paper to reality, there's been a huge amount that has been learned, and a huge amount that either I wish I'd known that and it could have saved me months, or maybe or how the hell did we get that done? What are some of those lessons in terms of what does it take to put together a tech week? Because the cities that have them will go, oh, these are just amazing, and they came out of nowhere, and the ones that don't maybe should. So what can you share with people that might be thinking, oh, I'd love to do something similar in my city or my region?
Yeah. So if you haven't worked in the event industry, don't. I'm kidding. No, it's no, working before in in different areas and fields like events is really it's a lot. It's coordination, and naive as I am, I didn't realize how much work I actually had to put in to make this happen. But it's incredibly rewarding, and it's a bold event, and but thank God I have this team and these people to help me make this vision come to life. But I guess in the beginning, it's a lot of this herd mentality. You have to have someone on board, and you need the partners to get the attendees and back and forth. So just finding those key players who really believe in you. And I was lucky enough to meet, Maria from Wall Street, to open up a lot of doors for me, believed in my vision. And then, as soon as an established players such as AWS come on board, and more players comes on board, but it took more than 3 or 4 months before someone really took this seriously, because it is a grand idea. And now when I think about it, like, I should appreciate how far I came. It's not the event hasn't happened yet, but just realizing how far you have come, because those early days was really struggling. Key takeaways, find these amazing door openers who can help you, who have the connection to make your dreams and vision come alive, and just push. No matter, I got like, as cringe as it sounds, like 1,000 no's, and someone said, "Oh, congratulations to your ambition," but it's a no, and like someone laughed in my face, like, "You're too young," like. So many, this is just unprofessional. So many weird comments, but I, had this people who always believed in me, support from friends and family who just said, and I'm not building a rocket ship. It's an event, but it's still, just push through, and doesn't matter how many no's you get, just keep on pushing.
Yeah, and how are you coping with it all? I mean, it is, it's pretty lonely and pretty brutal, and you've put a lot on the line here, a lot more than you probably realized going into it as well.
Right. Yeah, and so, now when this far I have the, the financial needs now to make this event happen. We have a great setup of panelists from all around the Nordics who's going to bring a lot of crowd. So in the beginning, it was like nothing, and then we had a card house, like anything could make that house, fall. And I felt so fragile all the time. And as soon as I got a downturn or pushback, it took a lot. But now it's more of a tree house. It can burn, but you can build it up again, and it's becoming more. And I'm not alone. I have an amazing team who still believe in this, and now we know that it's going to happen, and it's going to be even bigger than I thought, because I'm surrounded by incredible people. And once again, I'm very grateful for Simon, because we spoke 2 months ago, and he was like, "Great, how can I help?" And just those bold thinkers and just enablers really has helped make this a reality. So I'm very appreciative of that.
It's hard those days, right? Like I remember vividly, I used to keep a bit of a journal back in the early days, and we had this motto of celebrate every small win, no matter how small it might feel. But I don't think I've spoken about this on the podcast. I have in other forums before said I almost used to dread the small wins, and even more the big wins, because they were almost always followed by a negative. And so I felt like every good day was tomorrow's going to be bad now. And like I had this really difficult spiral for a while where, you want to celebrate that moment, but you're terrified by normally this is followed by something negative the next day. And those early days are like that, right? You feel like you're on this super vulnerable roller coaster that, it's like, the down bit's not the fun anymore, like it is on a roller coaster.
No,
but you're right.
So
you get
true.
into much more of that. Okay, the foundations become set. Your resistance levels to bad news go up.
Exactly.
Right? Bad news is not destructive. And when you've had certain bits of bad news, whatever it might be, some inconsiderate person laughing in your face, or worse things than that have happened to me, right, over the years of funding disappearing 10 minutes before it was due to hit the bank account, and all these other things. You just build a resilience up that, it will be good for something one day, maybe for podcasts and book writing or something. But it builds up that resistance anyway. Let's talk a little bit about the event itself then, right? What is it going to be? What does it look like in
Right.
incarnation number one?
Yes. So Nordic Tech Week takes place from the 15th until the 19th of September. So from the 15th until the 18th, it's going to be many small different events around Stockholm. So we will have a hackathon, we will have a running club for founders, we will have a tech safari where you will, drive free voice around Stockholm and see the ecosystem and the amazing buildings and co-working spaces that we have. We're gonna have a Femtech and Prosecco, event, just different events, and you can see the ecosystem and go there for your need. If you're in biotech, we have an event for that. And then from the 18th until the 19th, we have booked on Kungsträdgården, which is going to be a full open tech conference. So whether you're a student, just to get inspired, you're looking, okay, I want to see what tech is all about. And there is a threshold. You can get scared of the word tech because it's just get more complicated and more complicated. Now we're talking about I can't even say the word because it's quantum computing. There we go. Like you're scared of these different words because you don't understand it's complex. We're trying to make those scary words and scary concepts more accessible and just more understandable. Whether you're a employee trying to find your next employer or finding like-minded people, if you're a founder trying to find investors, if you're investors trying to find your next startup to invest in, it's a week for everyone. And the goal here is just to as I mentioned, just open up more, get more access to more people, because what we see today, thanks to a Stockholm-based company called Lovable, tech has never been this accessible. Like everyone, it doesn't matter if you have a computer science degree, you can build a demo to a product or a website within 20 seconds, which is incredible. We have Canva, and I hated designing before, and I terrible at designing, but now thanks to Canva, it's so user friendly and it's so accessible. So I would call myself a good designer. I'm doing the pitch decks, I'm doing the website with help from a web designer firm, but still, it's very accessible to do everything when it comes to creating the product, doing the design of the product, doing the marketing, because there's so many tools today that makes that accessible. So just spreading that and for more people to realize the accessibility and lower that threshold to get more people into tech. I know there's 18,000 skilled technical workers that's missing in just Sweden. And in order to fill that gap, we need more young people to enter tech, or just people who haven't thought about that, who want, change careers and think that tech is some scary, not scary industry, but complex, and everything is tech today. So just realizing that, and I struggled, 1 year ago with that, AI scared me, but then, as more as I got involved, it's not complex. It's just, just have to make it more understandable.
What is it about, you mentioned a stat there of, what was it, 18,000, jobs that need resources. What is it about the Nordic tech ecosystem you think that is, well, we're looking to celebrate, but we're also looking to stimulate? Like, what are the opportunities? What are the challenges? Obviously, this week's a good week to be recording this because we've got Lovable news out, and
right.
That's it's an incredible story. There's many, actually. The Nordics and Sweden, in particular, I think punches well above its weight on a per capita basis for unicorns. Clearly, it's doing something right, but obviously looking to scale more. So, yeah, what do you see as the strengths and maybe we call them weaknesses, but the development areas from a tech perspective?
Yes, absolutely. So, Nordics are one of the most tech-savvy populations in the world. We're very adaptable. We have, we're used to, having tech gadgets around us. So we are very tech-savvy. But then just a few years ago, it was like this mentality: if you haven't studied computer science or programming, you're gonna have a hard time, working in tech. So it was this threshold. So that's something that we're struggling with. you have to have a background in tech to understand it. So, the mission of this is just to lower that threshold for more people to realize, thanks to the tools that we have, it's more easy to get to the tech sphere. And just and also this collaboration of the Nordics, where we've seen we have Finnish angels which we asked, these past months, like, how is your investment in Stockholm going? And they said, well, we don't invest in Stockholm-based startups. Like, why? Just because, of a border, which is crazy. So we're trying to, even though we're celebrating Nordic innovation, get more people involved, we also want to strengthen the Nordic collaboration. Because, I myself, I haven't been to Oslo or Norway or Finland, which is crazy. It's like our neighboring country. And I don't know why that is, but just, having more of a connection there to make it more, accessible.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a huge amount happening, but you're right, it does feel quite fragmented. And so trying to pull that together, there's this concept that I learned when I came here of the new Nordics as well. Which is, maybe you can explain what the new Nordics is, because
yes,
I'm learning.
Absolutely. So the new Nordics, we're talking about, the Nordic and the Baltic region coming together. And I think this is a great concept because we're sharing a lot of values together. The Nordic and the Baltics, we're very global in our ambition. We have a bold ambition together. We have shared values when it comes to sustainability, to this ethical, the ethical part of it when we're scaling tech and so forth. And so I know one of the panelists today that's going to be on stage at Nordic Tech Week, Peter Westerback, who is the founder of Angry Birds. He's now building a high-speed underwater tunnel from Helsinki to Tallinn to make this region more accessible to the Nordics, and just strengthening us as a block, because we have a lot of similarities. We are great at producing unicorn startups. We are, as I mentioned, very tech savvy, and we're more stronger as a block, specifically what's happening to the more Western hemisphere in the US, when there's a lot of those bad values. I don't want to get political, but we can show the world that we can scale tech ethically, and
no, I think it's a very good point as well. Very good point. And I think that's the opportunity right now, right? Which is why the timing for this, although I was surprised one doesn't exist already, congratulations for therefore creating one, is potentially perfect, right? Like, this is a really important moment from a European innovation perspective. The Nordics are a incredible hotbed for lots of innovation, partly from a domestic market perspective, mostly from a need to export quite quickly, because the domestic markets are big, but not big enough maybe for creating unicorns, yet many unicorns have been created from these markets, right? And so there's a lot to say for all of that. So let's talk a little bit more practically then, right? How do folks find out, if someone's like, oh, I really want to go to this, right? Like, where can they get tickets, or what other opportunities might there be to get involved from an individual perspective or a company perspective?
Right. Yes. So just go into our website, nordictechweek.org, and you will find a lot of information there. So just sign up, and you will get a ticket, and you will have all these benefits. For example, you will be able to ride free Voi during the week. I know that Simon just had an accident with our scooter. So wear a helmet, be careful, and just look through what side events might be interested to you. Where can you meet like-minded people? Where can you find your community? And then if you're an organization or a company, we would love for you to host maybe a side event to help strengthen the ecosystem. If you want to be on site at Kungsträdgården, maybe you want to help startups, you can have a booth and tent there talking about how you actually strengthen and help the ecosystem, and how you can help future entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs to scale and to support them. But just visit our website, and the more info will come. about the program and the panelists and everything that is.
Perfect. And also, this podcast goes out globally, and so just to say, we've got an international contingent coming. It's night, it's a Nordic celebration, but it's not exclusively for people. I live here, but I am not Nordic. But also, people are welcome, right? And we're bringing folks,
yes,
international delegate, and that's an opportunity to showcase and listen and see what's happening here from that perspective. And there's a lot of great opportunities happening. So it's really open to anybody, even though it happens to be here.
Thank you, Simon. Absolutely. And I think it's a great way just to get an insight of the Stockholm tech ecosystem. It can be, or the Nordic ecosystem as well. It can be hard to navigate and to see what are the players, what are the company, what are the VCs, what are the most prominent startups. But this is a great, week to talk to people, see, what's thriving and what's happening in the new Nordics and in Stockholm. So whether you're, from Asia or the US or wherever, come to Stockholm, book a whole week, and there would be a lot of celebration, a lot of fun meetups, and a lot of insights. So
let's hope that Stockholm puts on some good weather as well. Hey, so
it will.
It will. It's normally all right around that time, I think. So
yes,
just wrapping up then. I think we should maybe talk about the awards. That are coming, and then any final thoughts that you might have for people before we close.
Yes. So ending the week, we're gonna have an incredible Nordic Tech Week Awards that Wazoku is helping put up, and we're celebrating and highlighting Nordic Innovator of the Year, the Nordic Investor of the Year, Nordic Ecosystem Enablers, and just Nordic Startup of the Year, players and actors that helping the new Nordics thrive, and having these values that I shared earlier, global ambition, bold innovation, and sustainability, and in the core of their values. And the latter question was about.
My final question was just any other thoughts you might have. One of them
other thoughts?
One of them was, I remember you sitting with me, and you said this a little bit up front, right? You looked at these big headline events like Slush or others that you couldn't get to because they were expensive, and now you tell me you haven't even been to Finland. So I'm like, that would have made it even easier. But this is something that your passion has made happen this year. Like, where do you think this might go from here, or what is your call to the ecosystem to make sure it does go somewhere from here?
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, like I've been to Tech Arena in Stockholm, I've been to Tech Barbecue in Denmark, and they are amazing. It was just that they are quite expensive. And, I got the opportunity to shake hands with Al Gore during Tech Arena in Stockholm. And that was a pivotal moment for me, talking to him, seeing and, getting so much inspiration made me realize so much stuff. And so absolutely, I recommend going to these places, but also maybe if you can, make it more open to the people who can't afford and can't put up that price to go, and have more open events for people to gather, meetups, meet new people. And yes, because when more people are included, the ecosystem really thrives, and we grow together.
Collaboration, right?
Yes.
So,
yes, sir.
So thank you and congratulations, Ludvig. I know this is going to be an amazing week in the middle of September. Before we go, one last time, where can people go to find out more information, or if they want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Yes, they can go to my LinkedIn page, Ludvig Bergström, or email me at ludvig@nordictechweek.org. And our website is called nordictechweek.org. So just go there. You have all the information that's necessary, and we will make sure to update you every day.
Every day, there you go. That's why he can't sleep, because he makes promises like that.
Every single day.
All the time.
Why did I have to end on that joke? Oh well, every day.
We end it with a laugh. So Ludvig, congratulations, right? I think,
Oh,
I'm excited for this one coming together. I love meeting change
thank you.
makers. I love your passion.
Oh,
I know that there's, blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this. So well done to you and the team,
mm,
and look forward to an
thank you
incredible
so
day.
much.
For everybody listening to the podcast, that's a wrap for this season. It's been a pleasure, as I said up front. So let's now go enjoy the summertime in the Northern Hemisphere, enjoy your winters in the Southern Hemisphere, and I'll be back sometime in the autumn, fall time with season 3. I've got some incredible guests already lined up, and I'm excited after a short break to get stuck into another season of innovation war stories that help us to become better at the things that we are doing, that share the learnings and the experiences of innovators from around the globe, just like you have heard today. Thanks again, Ludvig, and thanks everybody. I'll see you all shortly. Goodbye.